everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kkoolade or Amanda, but more importantly, happy Pride Month! In June of 2022, I put out my bisexual apartment video where I decorated an apartment based on the bisexual flag colors, and I'll stick a link to that in the corner if you're interested in watching that. What I learned from doing that video is that decorating houses with a particular color scheme is very difficult, especially when you have a color palette that is a little out of the ordinary. But I think I managed to throw something together in kind of a modern gamer-esque way. So now I've decided to, I guess I've kind of like started a tradition for myself now because I wanted to do this challenge for myself again. Now I'm building a house based on the lesbian flag, which has some gorgeous colors in it. So yeah, I guess I'll be doing this every year from now on. Look forward to it. The exterior is based on a photo that I found on Google Images. I am struggling to find that reference photo now. I feel like Google just like changes its search every time I do it, but I think I had Googled peach house and found the image that way. The picture was mainly of just the front of the building, so I replicated the front based on this image. I didn't have any sense of floor plan or how big the house was or how many floors or all of that, so a lot of it I just made up as I was going. The front I am so happy with. Love how it came out. So I am building in the Jungle Adventures world in Dorada. I have never used this pack. I have never been to the world before building this video. I'm actually saving it for one of my generations in my Not So Berry Modified challenge, whose kind of life's goal will be to explore the jungle and become an archaeologist. That's a little ways off, but if you are interested in my Not So Berry Modified challenge, I will also put a link to the playlist for that in the corner. Yeah, this is my first time being in this world. Just from what I've seen from going to this lot and looking around a little bit, I love the color scheme. I love the vibe. There are so many good objects in this pack that I feel like even if you didn't go to the world, I'd probably still get the pack just to play with all of the different objects and wallpapers and everything, because I don't feel like we have a lot of what this pack offers. So it's unique, it's got a lot of interesting stuff in it, and I think that it worked well into what I needed here for the lesbian flag colors. I used a lot of orange and I felt like I was able to find a good amount of orange, but the pink in the lesbian flag is like more of a darker fuchsia maybe, and I don't feel like that color exists much in The Sims, or if it does not exist in any of the packs that I have. So pink was difficult. I ended up substituting that color for a lot of light and pastel pinks instead, and then incorporating that darker pink whenever I happen to find it. I also went for what I would consider to be an interesting blend of modern and rustic Dorada vibes, so I hope that I pulled that off well enough. I've been doing more building content on my channel lately, which has been fun for me because I love getting to share my creations with you all, but I'm still a little unsure of what direction I want to take the content with. For example, I started off by recording myself talking as I was building and then cutting that together. And then I moved toward doing speed build videos without any audio at all, or sorry, without any like voiceover at all, and just some nice lo-fi beats to enjoy while you watch the video. And now I'm trying something different again with the speed build in the background and me doing the audio over top of it after the fact. So please let me know in the comments if you like this or not, if you have a preference. I don't really know what the community standard is, so I'm curious. Floor plans are hard. I do wish that I had been able to find a good floor plan reference for this house, but it's okay. When I have to create the floor plan myself, I feel like I end up just making a whole bunch of boxes and they don't really flow together or feel that interesting. So I mess with the floor plan a lot here. I think it kind of came together in the end. It's a little awkward, but it's all right. So here's what I was talking about with a lot of that pastel pink coming in with the walls. I particularly liked how this wall in the living room had the terracotta tiles at the bottom to bring in more of that rustic vibe that I was talking about. And I think that this drives some people crazy, but a lot of the times when I'm building, I put down all of my objects in the room first, and then I pick out the wall and the floor tiles, so I'm sorry if that bugs you. I am a huge fan of pastel pink and white together, which is why I think next year I absolutely have to build something based on the trans flag. It is such a lovely arrangement of colors. It's also a rule in all of my builds that you have to include the toilet paper holder, so I like to joke about that. Lastly, I like this bright backlit vanity mirror in the bathroom. I think that brings the modern into this bathroom. So always trying to blend like a moment of rustic here and a moment of modern there, and hoping that it comes out cohesive. At some point I get the idea that I want to build a natural pool on the outside. I am always looking for an opportunity to use those different pool paints. And I've seen a lot of simmers do this type of pool where it is surrounded by leaves and rocks and looks as if it was just a pond in the ground. I didn't take it quite that far, but I do love the idea of it fitting more into the environment, so we will revisit that at some point later in this build. The bedroom was the most difficult room for me. Something about I could not find a color scheme that I was really enjoying. I settled on liking that orangey tone wall, and then I didn't really know what else to do with it from there. I briefly toy with the idea of combining 2 beds together to try to make like something with a color palette that I liked more out of the single beds, but I wasn't quite sure how to pull that off and wasn't really liking it anyway. So I end up deciding on a different one that I vowed to make work. And this is the bed that I ended up settling on. It is pretty and pink. What I ended up deciding to do with the bedroom was leave the orange tone walls there, but to incorporate lots of pink rising up through the room. Bring that pink up so that the orange wouldn't feel as overwhelming. We will get to decorating that in a little bit. Okay, so now we're on to my second day of recording. I had some time to think about ideas in between all of this. Rest is important to any creative process. If you find yourself stuck programming or art block or writer's block, just like take a break. Take a break and come back to it. It is good for the soul. So I had a lot of time to think about how I wanted to lay out this main room, which was also a struggle thinking about it. So what I end up deciding to do is sectioning off a living room and TV area, and then I add an area for a dining table over there. I loved this little like settee cushion. I knew I wanted to do something with it, so I decided to make a tiny little reading area by this window, and I thought it was kind of sweet and romantic. I saw another simmer, probably on Twitter, create an L-shaped desk, so I wanted to try doing that. I wasn't sure like what desk to make it work with, so I just ended up deciding on these like plain brown ones and making that as if maybe the couple that lives here, sometimes they work side by side, like pull another chair over, or maybe they're just one of those people that have a bajillion computers and they need a lot of space to spread out. Doing that did mean that I had to sacrifice the other bathroom door, but you know, that's not the weirdest floor plan I've ever seen. You gotta go to the bedroom to get to the bathroom. There's only 2 people living here. It's fine, they can manage. Then I go through the whole house here and I add rugs. I feel like I never noticed how much I loved rugs until I started building in The Sims. And it feels easy to overlook in a home, you know, they're on the ground. A lot of the times they're not the focal point of the room, but it ties everything together so well, and it's a bonus if they're soft. I feel like I tend to put them in obvious places, in front of the sink, next to bathtubs and showers, in the living room. I would love to hear other suggestions for like how rugs could be utilized. The bathroom ended up being one of my favorite rooms in this house. I did a whole lot of finagling to get those little things on the counters, but it came out clean and bright and calming, and I just love the white and the pastel pink. Over here at the front door, I wanted to put a pile of shoes, but I feel like, I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like the little piles of shoes just feel way too small. So I end up opting for another one of the shoe racks again, and then I'm just going through and adding a bunch of more decorative details to make the house feel a little less empty, adding curtains, adding pictures, because at this point in my build I was like, this isn't looking very good, but then you start to add the little details and it comes together slowly. Something that I would love to see in The Sims 4 is more curtains. I think there have been some very good curtains put out in packs that I do not have, but there are so many different window shapes and I don't feel like enough curtains to cover them. Or even if you can adjust the curtain slightly, it's like not the right height. And I want more colors. Like I want so many more colors. But I have to say, I do love the feature of being able to resize objects so that you can do more creative things with them. So I love these posters that I'm about to put up here. And I thought that they would make really good like small prints or postcards, and would help to make the house feel a little more homey by sticking a bunch of them in the kitchen. Like they were prints that they had all found at a convention and decided to hang up as wall decor. you know, like little greeting notes that they leave each other in the kitchen, something like that. So I thought that was cute. It is also important that for every pride build that you make, it is important for every pride build that you make that you have to include the pride photo somewhere and the lesbian flag as well. So I throw that in the bedroom here. And then I thought that this little wood piece that was meant to hang on the wall kind of looked like a scratched up cutting board, so I put it near the sink like it was leaning against the wall. I give myself a whole lot of trouble here trying to put these lights on the bed, spending really probably way too much time here, and then like cutting the walls out and then putting it back, and I don't even think I needed to do any of that. I think I made this way more complicated for myself than I needed to, but I had already put them there. I wasn't gonna give up on it. I take my idea of sectioning off the living room a little bit further by putting in these wood posts. The perfectionist in me would have really liked to move the post over just slightly more toward the wall, but I tried doing that and it just kept trying to snap to the wall, so I gave up. It looks good. It's fine. I decide that my lesbian couple also really loves coffee. They love coffee and plants, so we're gonna include a lot of that. So I add some little coffee things on the wall. I manually create this backsplash because I couldn't find a wallpaper that was doing what I wanted it to. It'd be cool if we had more like backsplash things that matched, I don't know. And then we also gotta add like an espresso grinder and an espresso maker in here as well, so that they can make their coffee and drink it too or something. I learned that these have to like snap to certain things, so that's why I couldn't put it in the corner. Right, so at this point I take a break from the inside and start looking at the outside to see what kind of plants that I might include. Honestly, the jungle adventure stuff ended up being a whole lot of what I wanted here and what I was looking for. And it was a bonus because it fits so well into the environment, being, you know, from the pack in the world where the pack is from and all. But the colors with the oranges and the greens, and the plants are so good. I love them. So I'm gonna pretend that my couple can actually get onto this balcony. Maybe the window opens, even though there's no way to get to the second floor. Just pretend that there's a way. They have no way to access the second floor to water their plants. Suspension of disbelief, but it's there. I finally get to putting in that rock waterfall that I mentioned earlier, which I didn't actually playtest and just hoped and prayed that it would look all right afterward. And spoiler warning, it did not. It looked kind of goofy. So in the build that is going to be available on the gallery, which I will put the details for that below if you would like to download this. I just took the fountains out. If you want them there, you can figure out how to do it and then maybe tell me how to do it as well. I messed with the idea of adding like tile, a back porch, or eventually I will look at some terrain paints, but I end up deciding that the way the lot looks initially is perfect. I love the way the dirt path, like the dirt and stone, moves around the lot, and with the shape of the house that I ended up having, I just think it is perfect. I couldn't have done it better myself. I wanted my couple to have a fire pit and other outdoor activities, like maybe they can lounge by the pool and read, they can go in for a swim, they can sit by the fire at night and listen to the birds and the bugs in the woods making noises, they can go outside and arrange some flowers because they love plants. I think they are the kind of people that enjoy spending time outside and love to take in and enjoy nature. They value their solitude, but they're not unfriendly either. I tend to come up with these little ideas about what the people living in the houses I build might be, because I think personality is so important when it comes to styling or designing for someone, and it helps me to flesh out the concept when I come up with these ideas. Now I begin the hell march that is layering plants. I tried to layer all of the plants that I put out here so that they would look overgrown. So in the back here, I'm imagining that nobody ever goes back here, so it's just totally overgrown with grass and fern. And this is perhaps a stroke of genius on my part, but you'll notice here that I think it's called the Swiss cheese plant, is over here in the very corner of the lot. And I take the ferns and try to make it a natural extension of what is outside of the lot, so that it feels like the house isn't just this rectangular plot, it is within the environment, it is still part of the environment. I also have to say that I absolutely adore the drain pipes that go on the sides of the buildings. And I think it is the Get Together pack that added so many random things to put on your house and on the inside and the outside of your house. And I love it for that. It feel like there's still so much to be discovered to make the exterior of the houses more interesting. I decide that the house needs some climbing vines. This is the worst thing that I did to myself. This took a very long time, especially because the plants want to snap into a place above where the platform is, and that's not where I want them. I want them to start from the ground and come up. So there was only so much I could do without, you know, like some additional mod to get it in the correct spot. So I just spend a whole lot of time here layering all of these different varieties of growing vines and hanging ferns to make this look natural and interesting. I used the pink and white flowers here to play off of the lesbian flag colors and also to blend in with the outside of the house. And if that were not enough, I decide that this side of the house needs more visual interest as well. Oh, genius! So I put a whole bunch more vines on this side. This took a while too, but I do end up liking the way that it looked, and I think it made the backyard more interesting. I like that little stone plaque, and then I throw a vent on for just some extra spice. Bring the vines around the side, so as if it had all started in the back and grown across. All right, so now back to the inside. I get fed up with the selection of mirrors that we have, so I just decide to build my own, which I'm actually quite happy with. I think those mirrors look really cute next to each other, a little asymmetrical. There are not enough horizontal mirrors, so maybe in the future I will download some CC ones. But speaking of CC, I do use a few custom content items throughout this build. I think there's a wallpaper, some plants, like an object that sits on the desk. It's fairly minimal, so if you do end up downloading this off the gallery, there won't be too many changes that you have to make. Won't be too much to fix. I want the bedroom to feel very lived in, and that's kind of how I have my own personal spaces at home too. I just have so much stuff on my wall if you have seen my office. So I put all of these hanging lights, a bunch of posters, drawings of women, sculptures of women. Don't ignore that. I just wanted to see how big I can make the cloud. So between the living room and the bedroom, I am just throwing a whole bunch of stuff everywhere. All right, and now we're gonna take a break real quick to talk about our sponsor today. Just kidding, I don't have a sponsor. But you know what I can talk about is I actually just finished A Court of Thorns and Roses today, and I loved it. It feels like the author is in my head and like knows exactly what I wanted out of an adult fantasy novel. This is also why I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. I love fantasy so much, and I love adult fantasies. And so I just thought that I would shill out Sarah J. Maas's book. So I'm just adding more things to the bedroom here. I sized down this table, which means that I have to manually adjust everything that I want to put on it. But I do that, and I add some orange and pink nail polish, tissues, little llama sculpture, some other cute jars in the kitchen, that weird cube thing. So this little bookcase I decided is my bisexual Easter egg with the pink, blue, and purple as like a reference to my last video. Thought it would be cute. Even though I did screw up alt shifting of objects up and down here and there throughout this video, I think I've gotten a lot more comfortable with placing objects that would usually snap to things on their own. I struggle with what coffee table I wanted here, so I ended up deciding on this lavender one, and just deciding that the whole living room will be mismatched. And when I told my partner about this and how I was a little frustrated that nothing in this room matched, they were telling me that it makes it feel more lived in because you acquire all of these things throughout your life and they don't always match, but like they're yours and like it's your home. And I don't know, that was sweet. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for that encouragement. So I'm just putting on the final touches here as the speed build comes to the end, but there will be some pictures afterwards to show you screenshots of the final build, so stick around. But I hope that you all enjoyed because I had a ton of fun making this house, and I think my building skills have leveled up a bit from when I first started building in The Sims 4. And the power of references is insane. It makes a huge difference in your art and in your building, which is also art. Once again, happy Pride Month to all of my LGBTQ friends, their partners, and our allies, and thank you all for watching. Please give me a like and a subscribe if you want to support me, and I will see you in the next one.